And go live. There we go. We're getting there. Good evening, TikTok. Let me get situated here. There we go. Hey, everybody. Let's see right here now. So let's see what we're doing here. Hello there, TikTok. Coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia this evening. I just got back from my walk. Let me turn this mic on. Good Lord. So many buttons, so many clicks. All right, maybe we're good now. I just got back from my evening walk. I don't know. I've just been cold all day. I don't know if it's. I used to not be this cold now. It just made me a hot cup of tea. I'm sat here for a few minutes and diddle and piddle and daddle. How's everybody doing this evening? Staying warm, I hope. Would there not be no worse thing in the world than just to be cold? All these years they talk about hell, you be in a lake of fire. I think I'd rather be in a lake of fire than be in a freezer. Just cold is just aggravating. You just get cold. Ain't that silly? So, hey, TikTok, come on in the room. Say hello. I'm sitting here waiting. Ava's just now boarding the plane. Why am I hollering? Am I hollering again? I feel like if you're in Kansas, I got to make sure you hear me way out there in Kansas instead of just talking normal with this little microphone right here. But Ava's she's boarded the plane, so she's heading to Atlanta. Should be getting here about 8:30, I think, once she gets through the Atlanta airport and all that. But she had a flight out of Wilmington, North Carolina, supposed to flew out at 10:30 this morning. And then they offered her $800 if she'd give up her seat and fly in this evening at 7. So her and the other lady she was traveling with, they both took their $800 apiece and went back into town in Wilmington and piddled and diddled and killed an afternoon and made $800 off of it. I'd do the same thing. I mean, all you got to do is hang out for 6 or 7 hours. So anyhow, so she'll be getting in here this evening. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm going to have me a little warm herbal tea called Slippery M. It's made by Throat Coat. You can get it at Kroger. You can Google it. Amazon has it too. I have ordered it off Amazon. It's a real delicious little tea. Y'all do know too also, for like gardeners. Hey, Miss Valerie. Good evening to you. Y'all do know like coffee grounds and tea grounds or whatever. It's really good to put in your plants, So I don't waste my time trying to dig it out of the little carrot pods, but about 4 days a week we do a pot of coffee, and so I use those coffee grounds to put into potted plants or use it because it has a lot of nutrients in it that you can put back in the soil. But a good evening, everybody. Eddie Williams Sellers coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia this evening in the little community of East Point, the town of East Point. It's cold here this evening. We had a lot of storms over the weekend. Ava's been gone since Friday, and she'll be getting back in around probably in about 90 minutes or whatever. From where we live, we always wait until somebody gets their luggage. If they check the bag, once they get their bag, we can be over in 10 minutes. At the time they get out of that airport and get out there waiting. Usually I pick her up on the lower level down there where Delta's at on the South Tower. So so that way you don't get out there before anybody and they can just do it. But good evening, everybody. I work today. My daughter, Jill and Savannah and hey, be heard. My daughter Jill and her daughter Savannah and Caleb, my grandson Caleb and his son Chance, flew up to New York City about 12 today, I believe it was. They flew out, and I think they're staying down right across the street or around the corner from Bryant Park in New York City. Um, uh, Good evening, Eddie. I'm tired from marching for 2 hours today. Good for you, Valerie. I seen other protests going on. Where was that? I seen in Connecticut or somewhere. There's marches and protests going on around the country. They're not getting much coverage. They had a protest down in here in Atlanta at the state capitol today at 12. I've just been out of the loop the last week or so, but you do hear about the marches and the protests. People are going to get regalvanized. They're going to get motivated, and they're not going to go silently into the night. So I know they had a couple of big protest marches here in Atlanta back a week or two ago out at Buford Highway. And for you people around the country, Buford Highway is a huge Latino, Indian, and Asian community all on that part of Atlanta, out Buford Highway, out through there. Many thanks to our protesters. I so appreciate that people are seeing and trying, Rebecca says over on Facebook. Yeah, we're going to get, hey, Miss Tiffany, good evening to you over on TikTok. And good evening, YouTube and Instagram. How are y'all doing out there in Instagram land? And so yeah, there's protests that's going on. There's protests. There's marches that's going to be taking place. The country is, with the election of Donald Trump, the country is even more divided than it was before Donald Trump. And until Donald Trump exits the stage, by whatever means that entails, until that day happens, the country is going to continue to get more and more divided. And it's probably at some point over the next year or two is going to implode. And what I mean by imploding is things are just going to go off the rails. And so, my thing is I come on here to do these lives. For one thing, I enjoy talking to people. I also enjoy having a platform to speak to people and exhort people and encourage people. And I know in the process of it, I piss people off at the same time, and that just goes with the territory. I tell you, I thought about this today, y'all. Back when I had a church, and any preacher out there can tell you, it don't matter if you got 50 people coming every week or 500 people coming every week. A preacher has to a preacher had to really watch what he said doctrine-wise. Because if you said something too strong about baptism this way, you'll maybe offend somebody over there that kind of believes you get baptized the other way. And, you had to be careful about sin. If you preach on adultery too much, and one of the deacons is putting a lot of money in the offering plate is sleeping with one of the Sunday school teachers, and you know they need to stop that, but yet you don't want him to quit paying his tithes and go quick. So anyhow, it's a whole, they call it making sausage. But a preacher had to really watch kind of what he said, because you had to kind of be careful with what you said. So I come from that history and that perspective of speaking to people. But then if you take your face, if you go and your platform is now become not to be heady and high-minded, like somebody in a little Chevron parking lot. I go down there to take Boom Boom and Gracie down to a vet that's in a little bitty shopping center that's just run down. Looks like it should have been condemned 30 years ago, but that vet's in that shopping center. Well, right next door to it, in a rundown little storefront, is the international worldwide stage of the House of Faith with the cross on it. International, worldwide House of Faith. And I often wondered, like, these little storefronts that want to be international, how are they being international? They could be international now with YouTube or being on social media. So, but really and truly, churches have a small platform. And once you, and I guess the point I'm trying to get if TikTok kept freezing, so I am here. Oh my goodness. You know what it is? Thank you for that, Valerie. Let me go over here and turn my internet on. Good heavens, I forget to do that. When I go on a walk and do my little video, but our internet's turned off. Let's correct that right there. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. All right. Now it quit freezing on TikTok. And I wouldn't have never known that if somebody hadn't said so anyhow, when you come on a stage like this, and when I do a morning post, I mean, when you have a video that's been viewed 1.4 million times, or you do a morning post that's viewed 50,000 times, if I start to let that stuff creep in my mind, well, I need to be real careful what I say, or the Jewish people might think I'm anti-Semitic. I need to be real careful what I say about Palestinians, or they'll think I'm pro-Israel. Or I have to really watch what I say about Baptists, or they're getting a pissy tizzy, not that any of them can do anything. But what I'm saying, if I have to start calibrating what I can and can't say according to the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons and the Republicans and the progressives and the conservatives and the MAGA. So I think I made peace with somewhere about 5 years ago that the best way to handle any of that is just to be true to myself. And, and people call you names. During the campaign, I had an African-American lady. She called me and wanted me to come on her show. And I told her, she said, I wanted to have a respectful conversation with you and us do it on the air. And I told her, I said, well, I wouldn't be able to do that. I said, because I don't respect you. And it's hard to have a conversation with anyone that you don't respect. Hey, Miss Nisi, good evening to you. And, it made her mad. I told her, because she was a Trump supporter, and I told her, I'm not going to go and defend Vice President Harris against a black woman that's voting for Donald Trump. I'm like, my God, how bad did you have to hate your ancestors for you to turn on them and vote for an 80-year-old bigot? And, it made her mad. But I told her I didn't respect her, so I couldn't have a respectful conversation. And you can't do that with somebody that you don't respect. And but anyhow, it made her mad. So when we got off the phone with her a few minutes later, she sent me a text. She said, well, you ain't nothing but an old white racist man anyhow. And when I read it, I just busted out laughing. I just got tickled at her. I'm like, ooh, mama's mad, ain't she? Mama got mad. So when you come on a platform like this, or any of you, when you go on to a social platform where you can be viewed across the world even, if you start weighing yourself down with weights of what I can say, what I can't say, I don't want to pick a fight here, I don't want to upset somebody there, you just don't get to the real truth of who you are and have the freedom, and that's the great thing about the internet. Yeah, there's thousands of conspiracy theories on here. There's people on here just nutty as batshit on here. There's MAGA people that, my God, good Lord, it's just disgusting, a lot of them. And but what I will say about all those people I just mentioned, they have freedom to say what they want to say it and how they want to say it. Well, at least you do on a lot of these. TikTok will flag you and ban you over a word or two. You have to be careful. So good evening, TikTok. Good evening out there, everybody. Coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Eddie Williams Sellers sitting here having me a cup of hot toddy. Well, not toddy, tea. Toddy is if you put a little liquor in it. Hey, Miss Rhonda over on Facebook. Thank you there, Miss Reba. Yes, for sharing the live. And but anyhow, it is kind of similar. I've got where I've really. Hey, Nick. You're welcome. Thank you there, Reba. Even I did a podcast radio show with a guy a week or two ago, Henry Harris, just a wonderful young African-American guy who's got a very prominent voice on the internet and podcasts. And so he had sent me an email about a month ago and asked me if I would come on his show and talk to him about his, I guess he'd heard one of my videos on TikTok, and he said, and he's interviewed very prominent preachers, prominent preachers, the real big cadoodle preachers. And he sent me an email and he says, Eddie, I watched this video you did on TikTok, and I'm curious, how did you reach the place where you can speak freely without worrying about what other people think about you? And that's what I want to have a discussion with you about. So we did like a little 20-minute piece for him on that. And I don't, my answer to him is, I don't know if we ever get where we truly don't care. At least, you hear these people get on here. Hello, St. Simon's. I love St. Simon's down there in Shelley. Love Jekyll too. St. Simon's and Jekyll. We go down to St. Simon's at least a couple of times a year, just for a couple, 2 or 3 days, just to kind of get down on the Georgia coast. Love it down there. I never have been one of them kind of people who acted like, well, I don't care what anybody says about me. Well, you're a fool if you feel like that. You should care what other people think about you. I mean, my goodness, I care what people think about me. But what I learned during the Harris campaign, when you get in that little weird thing where thousands of people are saying all kind of bad stuff about you, what I learned through that was that nobody really has any power to hurt you unless you care about that person. So these people that get on the worldwide net and they spew all this hatred toward you, like, President Obama used to do that thing like that. I don't care. If your cousin that you love, if they come after you and say something hateful to you, it'll hurt you. So yeah, people can hurt you. But I knew this a long time ago. People that you care about can hurt you. All these other people on here, I don't care about these people. These total strangers out here in Louisiana that thinks I ought to be strung up. Who cares? Hey, TikTok. I'm sitting here just killing a little time, y'all. Ava's en route from Wilmington to the Atlanta airport. I've already got my walk-in. I've got my cup of coffee, a cup of hot tea. Saw you were on Cutoff, the Saturday Night Live special, to hear your live, Rhonda. I unfollowed the cousin delete, didn't want to hear that mess. Yeah. Hey, Miss Dora, good evening to you out there. Hello, Glenwood Avenue. Isn't it a small world? I had a epiphany, I guess you could say that, a week or so ago, that I get all these messages from people all around the United States. And then one night one afternoon, I was on the Jefferson Park neighborhood page on Facebook, and a neighbor down the street said, "Are you the Eddie Sellers that's on TikTok?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Well, I'm a fan." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's a neighbor right on the street from me." And you forget that, like on Glenwood Avenue, that there's also people down the street from you, across the town from you, right here in Atlanta. So that's what I'm saying about the power of social media. Thank y'all for the hearts, y'all. Thank y'all for all the hellos. Good evening, everybody. Hope we're starting another week. It's right here in Atlanta. Yeah, the Big A. We go over to Glenwood and do all our shopping on Glenwood Avenue at that Kroger right over there, right down from Boulevard. My shop's right there on Boulevard, right down from Glenwood. So, and I'm working most of this week. Listen to this, y'all. I'm going to tell y'all about something. So anyhow, back when Jill booked her flights to New York, because there's school break this week. And Chance and Savannah, my 2 grandkids, are on school break. So Jill's taking Chance and Savannah to New York City, staying down by Bryant Park. Going to be up there. They fly back Friday. So anyhow, Jill offered, because Jill wanted Heather to go, and Jill's like, "Heather, I'll buy you a ticket and pay all her expenses." And hey, Digits Mom, good evening to you. Hey, Miss Shelley Paul. Thank y'all for the gifts over here this evening. 4,000 people's clicked liked so far. Good. Top of the evening, everybody. I'm a piddling and a diddling, sitting here drinking a hot cup of tea in my dining room here in East Point, Georgia. Just talking about nothing, just whatever we want to talk about. But But anyhow, Jill wanted Heather to get my other daughter to go with her. And Heather, no, I'm with Eliana, and I'm taking care of Ann. He's broke his foot, all the. So anyhow, Jill let it go. So anyway, so they're packing yesterday to go to New York City, and Heather's like, well, I want to go because now Eliana, the little girl she was taking care of, is spending a lot of time with her dad now. And so sure enough, she got online, and Heather's never flown by herself before. So I've got to drop her off at the Atlanta airport at 10 o'clock in the morning. She's going to fly up to New York City by herself and figure out the airport situation. For some of you that hadn't never been to the Atlanta airport, and Heather always depends on Jill to handle all that kind of stuff and tell her where to go, what to do, this and that and other. So Jill's making little videos of leaving out today, telling Heather, well, you go to this gate and you go to that and you get on this train. The Atlanta airport's like another little city you have to get through to go find your gate. So anyway, I've got to drop her off at the airport at 10:30 in the morning. She's flying up to New York to LaGuardia. Then she's going to take a taxi over to the hotel where Jill and them staying. And so she's going to be up there until Friday. I'll call it my crazy family. I got tickled at my own self. I was at Metron at Jim's place Sunday morning, and Jim was teaching, and he says, I don't know, and he said, I don't know if any of you people has ever had to deal with real schizophrenic, kind of off the wall, kind of crazy people. He said, I don't know, maybe you have. And then it was quiet in there, and I just spoke up and I said, I wish you'd leave my family out of it, because sometimes I think like, oh my God, my family, all of them are so crazy, But anyhow, they're going to all, Heather, Jill, Savannah, Chance, and Caleb, the 5 of them, they got 2 rooms rented at the hotel there, and they're all going to be in New York for the rest of the week. And hey, Digits Mom, the thing about it is I introduced Savannah and Jill to New York maybe 2-3 years ago. And my God, you would think they were millionaires. They done been to New York City. I think this makes maybe the 5th or 6th time they've been up there to stay a week every time they go right down around Times Square somewhere. They love New York City. And on this trip, Jill and Caleb, they have tickets to go to the Colbert filming at Ed Sullivan Theater again one afternoon. It's going to be so cold, I don't know if they'll stay in that line for 3 hours. But they're on that taping. George Clooney's going to be there for that taping. And thank y'all for the hearts, y'all. Tap, 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 5,200. So then, and Savannah has always loved ballerinas. So she's going to the Metropolitan Opera something one night for a ballerina, whatever you call that, where they got the ballerinas. Hey, Heather, I'm on here telling all about your business, about you about to go to New York tomorrow and going to go crash their little party up there. So I'm having my tea, y'all. Hey, everybody. Eddie William Sellers sitting here in my dining room in East Point. I'm just killing time waiting for Ava to text me, and I'm not going to stay on here that long. My throat to give out. Going to wait for Ava to land and go pick her up and make sure she gets out of that airport all right. But good evening, everybody. Monday, you know what? Monday sure do come around often, don't they? I mean, we're at the start of another week. The weeks just kind of keep on. Y'all, it's going to be the end of February before we know it. And around the 1st of March, around Atlanta, it can start warming up in March a little bit. So I know that the outlet nursery store down in Loganville, Growers Outlet, thank y'all for the taps and the shares and the people that's joining. Good evening, TikTok. Good evening, Instagram. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, Facebook. Look at us. Look at all this. Uh, yeah, Heather's on here. My daughter here. I said, Heather, are you serious? You look you. She said, Daddy, I've just been depressed and I've just been going through a lot lately, and I just need to go to New York City and say to hell with all of it and just get up there and have some fun and run around New York City. I'm like, well, go on then. If New York don't shake you out of your humdrums, I don't guess nothing will. It's going to be real cold up there this week. They better take them some boggins and hats. Uh, uh, don't want to wish my life away, but looking forward to November the 28th. Yes, Miss Rhonda. They abolish MAGA too. Hey, big man, let me hold $1. All right, here. I got $1 somewhere I'll give you. Shelley Paul says, tell the group to tie Noma Dora's handmade pasta. Ooh, that just sounds good, don't it? New York City. You know what I love in New York City? I didn't get it the last time I was there. There's this one little hole in the wall, rundown place in Chinatown where they sit there and make their homemade dumplings and drop them, and they just a couple of like a little young Asian couple. Oh my God, they're so good. They're so good. Yeah, love you too, Heather. But I love to go over to Chinatown, just walk around, and while you're over there, you can walk on down to Battery Park, and you got the Brooklyn Bridge right there. I mean, it's too cold up there to do it now, but I mean, I've done it 2 or 3 times where I just take the subway on the other side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and just spend an afternoon walking back over the Brooklyn Bridge, and then making your way up to Chinatown and having a little lunch and dumplings. To me, my favorite part of New York is not going to Broadway shows. Or last time we was up there, me and Jill got on this kick. Ava went with us too. We went to an episode of The View, and that was interesting. And we went to me and Jill the time before that went to the Ed Sullivan Theater and watched the Stephen Colbert do his show. I love Stephen Colbert. And Little Italy was nice too. Lots of food there. Yeah, it is. It's so different, isn't it? You got Little Italy and you got Chinatown right next to each other. And then on over a little bit, we stayed right around the block one time in a hotel right around from Koreatown, And I know even in Chinatown, they got little Chinese pastry shops. Oh my God, y'all know how I love sugar. Good Lord. So, I mean, that stuff just just so delicious and sweet in your mouth. So, and pizza, it don't matter to me where you stay in New York City. You just go down on some corner of any little neighborhood and just get you a slice of pepperoni. Oh my God, their pizza is so good. So good. Yeah, I love New York City. Last time I was up there, Jill had never been over to the old Stonewall Bar where all the gay rights movement started. So she and Savannah and Ava was sitting in a class or speaking at a class at NYU University, and the building's right over by Washington Square. So so much to do in New York. So it takes a couple of weeks to see everything. Yeah, abolish MAGA. I've been going 20 years and I still don't feel like I've seen everything. I think people who even live up there probably never live their life, never do see it. There's always so much going on in New York. I have really enjoyed the last few times. I've done a lot of little bump and run 2 nights, 3 nights in New York City. I have enjoyed because I like to write in the mornings. I have the last 2 or 3 times we've stayed like 6 nights right there in the city. And after you've been there for 2 or 3 days, you just kind of get into the flow of just relaxing and enjoying it in a different way. Thank you there, Jeff Perelman. He says, I enjoy your videos. Thank y'all. Y'all people are a blessing to me because it seems like no matter, I can say, as they say in the South, I can say these vulgar words, and people out there in internet land, they're like, we still love you. Say whatever the hell you want to say, Thank you for the gift, the rose. Hello there, Mr. Dennis Thomas. Good evening to you out there. Good evening. Good evening, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Eddie William Sellers coming to you from Atlanta tonight. Just piddling and diddling, not doing much of anything. waiting on Ava's plane to get into Atlanta, and I'll need about 10 minutes to thank you there, Miss Rhonda. Isn't that something when people, Miss Rhonda says you are a blessing? Yeah, isn't it? And people are a blessing, ain't they? All around you. Some of you people listen to this. If you had to say a name right now, you could easily say somebody's name. Say, yeah, that person's been a blessing to me. You know. Thank you there, the Garden Collection. But anyhow, y'all come on in and say hello. We've sit and chat for a minute, see what's going on. I ain't feeling all that anger and frustration about. I don't even know what's going on in the news today. I did see on TikTok that a Delta plane or something flipped upside down in Toronto or something like that. I'm like, good Lord. And Jill's already so paranoid about flying. The Garden Collection said, you are just a delight. God has smiled on your spirit. Yeah, I think so. You know what, y'all? I think I kind of felt this way over the last 20 years. I didn't, being raised up in Christianity, I just really respond. I didn't want Jesus just to love me through the blood of Jesus. I would hope that if I had got to hang out with Jesus, that Jesus would have liked me. I was raised up around a lot of people say, I love you with the love of God, but, they'd have to kind of, but it's something when my friend Sammy that died, he liked me. I mean, he just liked me. He dragged me. He showed up at my house, I tell you, and my friend John who died, my lifelong, they liked me. I knew they loved me. But man, if they was going on a trip somewhere, they would drag me along because they love. I don't know at the time, Sammy drugged me off to Savannah for a weekend. Digis Mom says, I adore your content, Eddie. You always make me smile. Thank you there. My friend Sammy, he worked for a lighting company here around Atlanta. And at one time he was a big cadoodle with them, like ran the whole, he was like a CEO, CFO, whatever it was. He was something. Well, he came by my house one evening and the man that owned the company had given him 2 round trip tickets to anywhere in the world with Delta. But he had to use them book them within the next 24 hours. And so he showed up at my house. He said, Eddie, will you go? I said, yeah. And listen to this. They were first class because these were like millionaire people. First class round trip tickets to anywhere in the world. And we had to do the trip. I think there was like a month left on it, but we had to use them like real quick. So I said, well, where do we want to go? So we got on the phone and to Delta and we was going to go to Peru. Then we thought about it. I don't know. I think we wanted to go somewhere as far as we could because it was free. All of it's free. We didn't pay no taxes, no anything. It was all free. So we got the map down and got to looking at the map from Atlanta to this. We don't care about going to Australia and stuff like that. So anyhow, we went through all kinds of Italy, this, whatever. For whatever reason, we both agreed because we both was trying to agree on something. He said, let's go to, I said, I don't want to go there. And then I said, well, why don't we go over there? And Sammy's like, I don't want to go over there. So anyhow, we both agreed that we'd fly from Atlanta to Santiago, Chile, which was way, way down on the tip of South America. Well, we booked our flight and this is the only time in my life I've ever flown first class, local, or international. But international first class on a 10-hour flight, you got these chairs that let out like beds, and they got a little curtain they pulled through. There was only like 10 of us up there in the first class international. And Sammy is such a jokester. We'd giggle like we like 2 little 3rd grade boys. And the Sammy told that flight attendant lady, she had left the curtain open, and she walked by and Sammy told her, said, hon, would you pull that curtain back through? He said, we don't like looking at all that riffraff back there. And she got the joke, saying he was just being joking, but we all had a good laugh at it. But anyhow, we flew for 10 hours to Santiago, Chile. And oh my God, I got we had so much fun, y'all. So much fun all the way down there and all the way back. And we were down there for a while, and I kept the Super Bowl was played during the time we was down there. And to show you, uh, we I kept trying to figure out who won the Super Bowl. So finally, when we was leaving Chile, we went to Valparaiso. I tell you, it was the summertime there, and it was like 90 degrees there. And we went over to Valparaiso in Chile, which is the beach. Beautiful. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Beautiful over there. Well, the beach was packed like you wouldn't believe, just thousands of people on the beach. And I told Sammy, I'm like, good Lord, that's just weird to see this many people on the beach and not one person out there in the water because the water's freezing. It has the Arctic current coming out there. So me and Sammy, we're sitting on the beach and enjoying it and all like that. And I told Sammy, I said, I didn't fly 6,000 miles not to get in the water. I don't care if ain't nobody else in the water. He said, I'll go in if you go in. So we took off running out into the ocean, just the two of us. And y'all, I don't know if y'all ever been in real cold water. It was like somebody threw fire on your body. It was so cold it hurt the skin. We run right out there and turn around and run right back. We got about waist deep. We just run back out of there. And I told Sammy, I said, look at all these people out here laughing at us. They know we're just tourists down here, don't know what we're doing. But we had so much fun, so much fun. And then if you're ever in Kroger or Publix or something, there's a brand of wine called El Diablo, the devil. So one afternoon, we took from the hotel, we booked us a whole day of going out of Santiago to a winery called El Diablo. And oh my God, we sipped so much wine. It was so beautiful. All the grapevines and even now, no, it's El Castillo. El Castillo. Anyhow, I know the brand when I see it. And when I'm at Kroger Publix and I see that section of wine, I'm like, oh my God, me and Sammy spent a day down in Chile at that winery right there. So anyway, that's a lot of rambling, y'all, telling stuff. But anyway, everybody, good evening, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Hope everybody had a good Monday, get this week started. I'm just sitting here having a cup of hot tea, waiting on Ava to get back into Atlanta with her $800 that she made by taking a later flight this evening. So anyway, y'all, I don't know of anything going on in the news because I haven't watched the news all day other than seeing on TikTok about a Delta plane that flipped upside down. I don't know if anybody was hurt or not, but good evening, Miss Kathy Cole. Top of the evening to you. It's cold here tonight. I don't know if any of the rest of you, thank you there, Miss Dora, if any of the rest of you have lost a little weight, but anytime I lose weight, I get colder easy, and I tell you what it is, when you got some fat on you, it helps keep you warm. But when I went from 235 pounds to 185 pounds. I'm up to like 190 now. I gained like 5 pounds of it back. But you lose about 50 pounds and you get cold. I never have slept in a T-shirt before. I don't like shirts on my body when I'm sleeping. And over this winter, I sleep with a T-shirt on every night. I get cold easy. And I think it's just losing the weight and getting older. Did I slurp? I don't want to slurp. That's inappropriate. Saying the F word's not inappropriate, but slurping on a sip of tea, that's inappropriate. All right, y'all. We about 10,000 likes over here. Good evening, everybody. Top of the evening to you. Just sitting here, killing some time, waiting for Ava to get here. And thank y'all for the hearts. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the shares. We love TikTok. We love I guess I was talking to a customer who came in today, and he has a parking business, and he's big in social media on Instagram, and I know that for some of you people that knew Leslie Jordan had a huge following on Instagram, like 3, 4, 8 million people, following Leslie Jordan. And a lot of people really do good on Instagram. A lot of people have a big following on YouTube, and some people do Facebook. I don't know if there's much money to be made on Facebook unless people just use your catch app. The Garden Collection says, I think it's getting older that changes the body because I'm the same way now in my 40s. Maybe it is just, I don't know, but man, I get cold easy now, and yeah, and I think it has something to do with weight though too, because the thing about it is you rarely ever see a heavy person say, "Whoo, I'm freezing." No, they're like, "Whoo, open that door up! I'm burning up, y'all! I'm on fire!" I think they're insulated with. Um, Thank y'all for the gift, y'all. but I do, and it's kind of like that internal cold, where you feel cold from the inside out instead of the outside in. Y'all reckon my arteries is all clogged up and I'm about to fall over dead with a heart attack to you. Good Lord. But good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's feeling good today, starting the week off. Heather's going off to New York for a week. And hopefully I'm going to be piddling with her house over there to get her house built back. And maybe we're a month away from her kind of getting out of that apartment and getting back into her place. So I think I want to go to New York this year too. Ava and I last year we went up. My birthday's in September and hers is in November. So we go in October and we kind of have I guess a little bit of a birthday thing between the two of us, a little bit post mine, pre hers. And I know Valerie said she's been cold. Hey, Miss Amy, good evening to you. I see y'all over there. Y'all come on in, sit a spell, as they say in the South. How's y'all's mama and them been doing? September the 26th, Digits mom. I am a Libra, but I'm right on that cusp from September the 26th. Libra, aren't Libras kind of an odd sign to be born under? You're the third, yeah. I'm the 24th. Yeah, my Uncle Aaron was on the 24th. So if you're the 24th, you're Libra also. My Uncle Aaron, he was born September the 20th. I can't remember none of my kids' birthdays, anniversary, any of that kind of stuff. But I remember my Uncle Aaron's birthday because he was exactly 10 years to the day older than me, about 2 days or whatever. But he was, Allie says she's a Libra too over on Facebook. Libras are kind of odd people, ain't we? Because we're very intuitive. And I do believe there's something to do with the solar system and the stars and the way the heavens lined up and all when we're born. I don't know how much I believe about astrology, but I do believe it matters the moment you're born. I believe it mattered that Jesus, the time he was born, and the time you were born and I'm born, and but I know Libras are very, very intuitive, and Libras are kind of like the scales. And I notice as far as myself, I don't listen to know so much, if you see how my brain works, so much that what people actually say, but I'm more interested with myself of pondering why they said what they said, as opposed to actually what they said. So it's almost like a weird psychoanalyst kind of reasoning about, yeah, I know they said that, but why did they say that? So I'm more interested in the whys of stuff than actually the stuff that's being said. That was so anyway, y'all. Yeah, Allie, 100%. Yeah, so y'all get that as Libras. We're very and maybe it's a trait just for me, but my ex-wife, I don't like calling Kathy my ex-wife, my former wife, she would always tell me as a pastor I was too forgiving because I didn't hold stuff. I didn't carry stuff through life with me against people. Somebody did something, I just let it go. Yeah, maybe they was having a bad weekend. So what? They called me an asshole or told somebody else they thought I was a jerk. Who cares? I'm going to love them anyhow. They show up, put money in the offering. I'm good. We're good. Baby, come on. Let's go to Waffle House, get something to eat. I ain't got time to hold all that against people. And so maybe that's a Libra trait that where we just really are forgiving people also. That, have y'all known people? I've known people that somebody did something to them 20 years ago, and it wasn't even nothing. It wasn't really nothing. It wasn't like somebody slept with their husband or something, but maybe somebody made a comment about how they looked in a dress or something, but something just nothing 20 years ago. And they're like, I ain't never had no use for that person. Like they just went through life holding it. Yeah, I think that's true too. Very true, but we never forget. I don't really know if anybody ever forgets. All this, there used to be this, they used to be people used to think, they'd repeat what they thought was enlightened stuff that they'd heard. And so people used to say years ago, like, well, you haven't forgiven if you can't forget it. Well, that's impossible to forget something. I mean, you can't never unhear something. You can't never unsee something. You can't never forget something unless your mind's slipping. I mean, my God, I can remember something in the fourth grade. I did it in the fourth grade, and I still remember what I did in the fourth grade on that day. How do you forget stuff? That ain't got nothing to do with forgiving, I'll tell y'all this, though, that might help somebody that just runs across this or in the middle of the night, just listen to it. I was in a relationship and I was about to end it because I couldn't forgive the person for what they did. And so I was going to a therapist, and she said, the only way this relationship's going to survive is if you forgive that person, forgive them. That's the only way it's going to survive. And I had preached forgiveness for 20 years in a church that I pastored, and I thought I understood forgiveness in some way, but then sitting in that moment when I couldn't forgive this person, I realized that I'm missing something. I don't know how to forgive somebody when they've hurt me really bad. And I asked the therapist, I said, you keep telling me to forgive this person if I want this relationship to survive. But what you haven't told me is how to forgive this person. And she kind of laughed. And she said, oh, my goodness, Eddie, do you not know how to forgive somebody? It's very simple. I'm like, what? What is it? She said, you just make the choice to forgive them. And once you choose to forgive them, you forgive them. Said it's just as simply as making a choice. Y'all, I'm telling you, when she said that, it was like a door opened in my neural paths in my brain. It's a choice you make. You make the choice to forgive. And on the way home from that therapist session, on the way home, I made the choice to forgive this person. And it altered everything. It was just simply a choice that I said, yeah. And never went back and revisited, never brought it back up ever again. I just made the choice to forgive it. And somebody that's listening to you might say, well, that seems super hunky-dory, doo-doo-doo, whatever. But I'm telling you, it's simple. Forgiveness is simply a choice. The hard part getting to is reaching that place where you're able to make that choice. Once you make that choice, you can do it. So anyway, y'all, good evening. I guess I'm just dragging this out. Just dragging it out because it's 20 minutes to 8. She'll text me whenever she lands, and it's always good people that we love when they do say they landed, because I'm telling you, flying can be a little bit scary, as Heather's getting ready to fly up to New York in the morning. And it's kind of odd. I was telling Heather today, I flew from Atlanta to Barcelona by myself one time. Man, that's a long flight too, to be by yourself, But anyhow, y'all, thank y'all. 10,400 likes over here. Good evening, everybody. Top of the evening to you. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. No politics tonight. No MAGA, no Trump. I don't know what's going on in the world today, but we know this is really screwed up. Thank y'all for the taps and the likes and the shares and the follows and yeah. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get off of here and maybe chill for a minute. I gotta take my trash around and pick up the trash tomorrow. Just doing the ordinary things. I've always thought it would be nice, like when you stay in these townhomes down on the beach in Florida, where you in these buildings where you open your door and they got a trash chute right there down the hall where you just throw all your trash in a chute. Yeah, I thought that'd be good instead of having to roll this garbage cans out on the street. But anyhow, good evening, everybody. Top of the evening to you. Let's all have a good rest of the week. Get some stuff done. Encourage ourselves. Keep our spirits up. Don't ever underestimate what you're going through right now. Whatever it is you're going through, at some point, you'll probably look back at it and say, well, this was a blessing. I just didn't even know it because I was just really snowed under with it. But this turned out to be a blessing. A lot of times blessings don't seem like they're a blessing in that moment. But then when you have time to digest it and get through it and look back on it, you say, yeah, it was a blessing. It all worked out to be a blessing. So anyway, y'all, hey, let me get out of here. See y'all.